Have you ever heard news so quiet, yet so powerful, that it made you stop in your tracks? This morning, in a peaceful neighborhood not far from here, a 71-year-old man passed away, suddenly, silently. No loud goodbyes, no warning signs, just a life that quietly came to an end as the sun was rising. But sometimes, it's the silence that speaks the loudest. He wasn't a celebrity or a public figure. He was simply a man, like many of us. He woke up early, poured himself a warm cup of tea, stepped into his backyard to tend to his beloved rose bushes, and never made it back inside. By the time his wife noticed the stillness, it was too late. His heart had stopped. As someone who has spent over a decade working closely with older adults, I can tell you this isn't rare. In fact, I've lost count of how many times I've sat across from grieving families who say the same words. But he seemed perfectly healthy. That's the problem. What seems harmless often hides the greatest danger, especially in the quiet moments of our daily routine. I've learned that the first 60 minutes of your day are not just about waking up. They are a critical transition where your body, especially after the age of 60, is at its most vulnerable. What you do or don't do during this window can either support your longevity or unknowingly set you on a dangerous path. That's why in today's video, I want to share with you 3 common morning habits that many older adults perform without thinking. Habits that might seem routine, even beneficial, but can silently put your heart, your brain, and your balance at risk. These include mistakes like jumping into chores before breakfast, standing up too quickly after waking, or even straining in the bathroom. Each of these may sound small, but I assure you, the consequences are anything but. I'll also walk you through the science behind why these mistakes matter, what happens inside your aging cardiovascular system, your blood sugar levels, and your nervous system during the early hours. But more than that, I'll give you the tools, simple, practical strategies you can implement immediately to protect your mornings, your independence, and your life. And if you stay with me until the end, I'll share some of the most powerful lessons I've learned through my patients, stories of regret, recovery, and resilience that I believe everyone over 60 should hear. Now, let me ask you, have you ever woken up and felt the urge to jump out of bed, skip breakfast, and go straight into your tasks? Maybe water the plants, walk the dog, or even sweep the porch. I've been there. And so have many of my patients, some of whom didn't realize that those exact moments were when their bodies were most at risk. That's what happened to Mr. Albert, the man I mentioned earlier. His story could have ended differently. And maybe, by watching this video, yours will too. If this message resonates with you, or if someone you love came to mind, pause here for a moment and drop a comment below. This could have been someone I love. That small act can help us raise awareness together. And if you haven't already, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Every action you take helps this message reach more people and possibly save a life. Now, back to the heart of the matter. Over the next few minutes, we'll explore the first and perhaps most misunderstood morning habit that puts seniors at risk: exercising on an empty stomach. You might think it's healthy, but what I'm about to share with you may surprise you and change the way you start your mornings forever. And that brings us to the heart of what I want to share with you today. Because what happened to Mr. Albert wasn't just a tragedy, it was a wake-up call. You see, there are certain things we do every morning, often without thinking, that may seem harmless, but can silently put our health at serious risk, especially as we get older. These are habits I've seen over and over again in my work, patterns that repeat across homes, families, even generations. But here's the good news: they can be changed. So now, let's take a closer look at the 3 most dangerous morning habits seniors must avoid, and what to do instead to stay safe, strong, and independent. Tip 1. Avoid strenuous exercise on an empty stomach. Have you ever thought that doing something healthy could actually put your life at risk, without you even realizing it? Imagine waking up feeling refreshed, skipping breakfast because you're eager to be productive, and heading straight outside to walk, pull weeds, or clean the yard. It feels like the right thing to do, doesn't it? For many older adults, this morning routine seems harmless, even commendable. But what if I told you that this very habit could be one of the most dangerous things you do all day? I remember a woman I worked with named Ms. Darlene. She was 72, full of energy, and loved her garden. One morning, just after sunrise, she skipped her usual oatmeal and went straight outside to trim her hibiscus bushes. 10 minutes later, She collapsed in the backyard. Fortunately, her neighbor spotted her in time, and she was rushed to the hospital. The cause? A combination of low blood sugar, unstable blood pressure, and sudden exertion on an empty stomach. The activity that was meant to boost her health nearly ended her life. As someone who's worked with seniors for over a decade, I can say with confidence, this is far more common than you think. After a full night's sleep, our bodies are in a restorative state, slower metabolism, reduced blood sugar, and higher morning blood pressure due to natural hormonal shifts. Waking up and immediately engaging in moderate or heavy physical activity, especially without eating, places a sudden demand on the heart, the muscles, and the brain. But there's no fuel in the tank. Your body is like a cold engine being pushed uphill. The result? Fatigue, dizziness, irregular heartbeats, even stroke or cardiac arrest. And it doesn't have to be intense exercise like lifting weights. Even sweeping, bending, gardening, or a brisk walk can overload the system if the body isn't ready. That's why one of the most important lessons I teach my patients is this. Movement is medicine, but only when used the right way. So what should you do instead? Start your day by fueling your body. Eat something light but meaningful. A bowl of oatmeal with fruit, a boiled egg with toast, or a banana and a handful of nuts. Hydrate with warm water or herbal tea. Give your body the signal that energy is on the way. Then, begin with gentle movements, stretching your legs, rotating your wrists and ankles, doing light arm swings or neck rolls. Think of it as waking up your circulation. These practices ease your transition from sleep to motion, reducing shock on the cardiovascular system and giving your heart the preparation it needs. And here's something I recommend to every senior I work with. Set an intention before you move. A simple phrase like, "I'll take care of my body today," creates a mental shift toward mindfulness. It's not just about what you do, it's how you do it. And if you're thinking, "But I've always worked before breakfast," I understand. Habits are hard to change. But wisdom isn't about clinging to old routines. It's about knowing when to adjust. You're not giving up movement, you're reordering it. Fuel first, motion second. Your heart and your brain will thank you. So remember, exercising on an empty stomach might seem like a small thing, but it can create a dangerous storm inside the body. Let's break that habit, gently, intentionally, and with compassion for ourselves. If this tip surprised you or reminded you of something you do each morning, comment below. Fuel before motion. I'm making the change. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more insights on staying strong and safe as you age. Now that we've explored this hidden morning danger, let's move to the next common mistake, one that almost everyone makes without realizing it: standing up too fast after waking. It may seem simple, but the consequences can be life-altering. Tip 2. Avoid standing up too quickly after waking. Have you ever stood up too fast after waking and suddenly felt the whole room spin? Maybe your heart raced, your vision blurred, or your legs didn't quite feel steady. You thought, "That was weird," and then brushed it off as nothing. But what if that moment wasn't just a random dizzy spell? What if it was your body warning you that something wasn't right, and the next time, it might not end so harmlessly? As a health professional who's worked with older adults for more than a decade, I've seen the consequences of this one seemingly small action, standing up too quickly, play out in some of the most heartbreaking ways imaginable. And I can tell you this, it's not just a nuisance. For seniors, it can be deadly. Let me share the story of Mr. Calhoun, an 81-year-old former carpenter who'd lived alone since his wife passed. He was healthy, independent, and still proud of making his own breakfast every morning. One day, he woke up at 5:30 a.m. as usual. But that morning, he sat up too fast and stood immediately. No stretching, no pause. His blood pressure hadn't had time to adjust. Within seconds, he collapsed, hitting the edge of his nightstand on the way down. When his neighbor didn't see him tending his front porch by 7 a.m., she came knocking. He was found unconscious with a fractured hip and head trauma. It took him months of rehab to regain part of his mobility, but he never fully recovered. His story is a painful reminder of something I teach every patient I work with. Your body needs time to wake up, just like your mind does. During sleep, our heart rate drops, our blood pressure lowers, and our circulation slows down. This is our body's way of conserving energy and focusing on repair. But when we wake, especially as older adults, our systems don't snap back instantly. The blood pools in the lower half of the body, and when you sit or stand abruptly, it can cause a sudden drop in blood pressure, what's known medically as orthostatic hypotension. What happens next? The brain receives less oxygenated blood, and you feel dizzy or faint, lightheaded, blurred vision, weak in the knees, confused or disoriented for a few seconds. These may sound minor, but here's what's not minor: falls. Falls caused by postural hypotension are one of the leading causes of emergency hospitalizations for seniors over 65. And the aftermath can be severe: broken hips, spinal injuries, concussions, long-term disability, or even fatal complications. And all of it often begins with that one decision: getting up too fast. Now, let's go deeper. One reason this is especially dangerous for older adults is that our baroreceptors, the sensors in our blood vessels that regulate blood pressure, become less responsive with age. So while a younger person's body might adjust quickly, an older body may take 15 to 30 seconds or more to catch up. And in those few seconds, everything from balance to clarity to muscle readiness is compromised. Add to that the potential of being dehydrated in the morning, which is common in seniors, and you've got a recipe for disaster. So what's the solution? The answer is simple, gentle, and highly effective. Give your body time. Here's a step-by-step morning routine I recommend to all my patients. 1. Wake slowly. When your eyes open, don't rush to sit up. Take a few deep breaths. Feel your body. Let yourself mentally transition from sleep to wakefulness. 2. Move gently. Before even sitting up, begin by wiggling your toes and fingers. Then flex your ankles, roll your wrists, and stretch your arms overhead if you can. This helps jumpstart circulation without creating pressure on the heart. 3. Sit up gradually. Roll onto your side, and then use your hands to push yourself up into a sitting position. Let your legs hang off the bed for 30 to 60 seconds. This lets your blood redistribute and your heart adapt. 4. Breathe and assess. Inhale deeply. Do you feel lightheaded? Are you alert? If so, proceed. If not, wait a bit longer. 5. Stand slowly and with support. Use your nightstand, bed frame, or a nearby wall for balance. Take your first few steps carefully. These steps may take 2 extra minutes, but those 2 minutes could mean the difference between starting your day with confidence or starting it in the ER. Beyond the physical act, there's something deeply symbolic about slowing down in the morning. It's about intention. It's about telling yourself, my life is valuable. I don't need to rush. I choose peace. And that mental shift alone can reduce stress and raise awareness of what your body is trying to tell you. I often tell my patients, just because you've done something for 40 years doesn't mean your 70-year-old body still approves. Our systems evolve. Our routines must too. Aging with grace means adjusting with wisdom. You might be wondering, what if I've already fallen once? Does this really help? The answer is yes. In fact, most fall prevention programs start with morning posture awareness. The habits you build before you leave the bedroom are the first line of defense. And if you live alone, even more reason to slow down. No one wants to lie on the floor waiting for help. Let me also address a myth I hear often. I don't feel dizzy when I stand up quickly, so I must be fine. The truth is, not all effects are immediate. Some people experience delayed symptoms, or worse, mini strokes that go unnoticed until memory and coordination start declining over time. You don't need a warning sign to make a better choice. You just need awareness. If this tip resonated with you, or reminded you of something you've brushed off, please take a moment to comment below. Backhand index pointing right, slow steps, strong start. I'm changing my mornings. Your comment might be the one that encourages someone else to pause tomorrow morning before they rise. And if you haven't already, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. These small actions help us reach more people who need these insights, and they let us keep making videos that empower seniors to live fully and safely. Now that we've explored how speed can become a silent threat, let's talk about one more morning habit that most people overlook entirely, but which affects millions of seniors every single day. It happens in the most private place in the house, yet it can trigger strokes, heart attacks, or serious injuries. What is it? Let's talk about straining in the bathroom and why this tiny action may have a huge impact on your health. Tip 3. Tran ran qua suc kai dve sin. Here's something most people don't talk about, but absolutely should: the bathroom. Specifically, Those moments in the early morning when you sit on the toilet, tense up, and push a little too hard, thinking it's just another part of your day. But what if I told you that this everyday habit, something so private and routine, could be putting your heart, your brain, and your life at risk? In fact, straining during a bowel movement, especially right after waking up, has been linked to spikes in blood pressure, dizziness, fainting, strokes, and even heart attacks. Yes, all of that, just from going to the bathroom the wrong way. I remember one of my longtime patients, Mr. Ellison. He was 76, a retired military man, disciplined, sharp, and always on a routine. Every morning at 6:30 a.m., he'd drink a glass of warm water, head to the bathroom, and get it done, as he used to say. But one morning, he didn't come out. His wife found him slumped against the wall, conscious but disoriented and pale. After a hospital visit and several tests, it was clear the combination of early morning blood pressure changes and excessive straining had caused a brief interruption of oxygen to his brain, a type of transient ischemic attack or mini-stroke. What happened to Mr. Ellison isn't rare. In fact, I've seen it multiple times in my years working with seniors. You see, most people underestimate the sheer cardiovascular demand placed on the body during forceful straining. When you bear down hard, what medical professionals call the Valsalva maneuver, your chest and abdominal pressure rise dramatically. This compresses the veins, returning blood to the heart, temporarily reducing blood flow. The heart, sensing the drop, responds by pumping harder once the pressure is released. For someone with high blood pressure, heart disease, or weak arteries, that sudden fluctuation can be dangerous. But it doesn't stop there. Think about what's happening at the same time. You've just woken up. Your body is already in a vulnerable transition. Blood sugar is still low. Dehydration from the night may be lingering. Circulation is just ramping up. And now, on top of that, you're pushing, sometimes for several minutes, creating a storm inside your chest cavity. It may seem harmless, but it isn't. In fact, some of the most serious strokes I've seen in my career happen not during high-stress arguments or while running upstairs, but on the toilet. So why does this happen more often in older adults? There are a few key reasons. Constipation is more common with age due to slower digestion, medications, or lower fiber intake. Dehydration is frequent, especially in the mornings. Pelvic floor and core muscles weaken, making elimination more difficult. And let's be honest, many people rush the process, adding psychological pressure to a physical one. So how do we change this? How can you make your time in the bathroom safer and more comfortable? Thankfully, the solutions are simple, gentle, and incredibly effective. First, adjust your posture. Most Western toilets aren't designed to support natural elimination. That's why I often recommend using a small footstool or squatty potty. Elevating your knees above your hips helps align the colon, reducing the need to push. This position mimics the natural squatting posture humans used for centuries, and it works. Second, don't force your body. If you feel the urge, go. But if you don't sit there scrolling through your phone trying to make something happen. Waiting and forcing creates unnecessary pressure. Instead, try again later. Your body will let you know when it's ready. Third, focus on your diet. A fiber-rich diet is one of the most powerful tools for smooth, effortless bowel movements. Think leafy greens, whole grains, lentils, chia seeds, berries, and pears. These foods bulk up your stool and make it easier to pass. And don't forget healthy fats, avocados, olive oil, and nuts all help lubricate the digestive tract. Fourth, stay hydrated. Start your morning with 1 to 2 glasses of water before coffee or tea. Your intestines need water to move waste efficiently. When you're dehydrated, your colon pulls extra water from your stool, making it harder and drier, harder to pass and more painful. Fifth, move your body. Gentle activity like walking, stretching, or light yoga stimulates digestion and encourages bowel regularity. Inactivity leads to sluggish digestion, which leads to constipation, which leads to, you guessed it, straining. Sixth, be mindful of medication. Some prescriptions, like calcium supplements, iron pills, or certain painkillers, can slow your bowels. If you suspect your meds are causing constipation, talk to your doctor. Never stop a prescription without professional advice, but there may be safer alternatives or ways to balance the effects. All of these habits may seem small, but they make a profound difference, both in how your body functions and how you feel every morning. And what's most powerful is this: they return control to you. I've always believed that the bathroom is one of the most overlooked spaces in preventive health. It's where we start our day, where we assess how we're doing, and where small decisions ripple outward into long-term well-being. By creating a safer, more relaxed experience each morning, you're not just protecting your brain and heart, you're also preserving your dignity, your independence, and your peace of mind. And let's not ignore the emotional side of this. I've had patients tear up when they finally go a full week without pain, without straining, without fear. It's not just physical relief, it's freedom. And everyone deserves that. If this topic hit home for you, or if you're realizing you've been ignoring the warning signs, take a moment to comment below. Backhand index pointing right, no more straining, I'm choosing a better start. Your words might encourage someone else who's been suffering in silence. And if you haven't already, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. We're building a community of seniors and caregivers who want more than just information, they want transformation. Now that we've explored the 3 most overlooked, but dangerous morning habits, let's take everything we've learned and tie it together. Because beyond just avoiding harm, what truly matters is how we turn these small changes into a lasting legacy of health for ourselves and for those we love. So stay with me, because in the next section, we're going to explore exactly how to do that, starting today. Have you ever wondered what you'll leave behind? Not just in things, but in lessons? Not just in your will, but in your ways of living? What if the habits you practice each morning, the values you uphold when no one's watching, and the example you set silently each day, what if those were the true inheritance you pass on to your children and grandchildren? I believe that they are. And in many ways, they matter far more than money ever will. The small choices you make, whether you rise slowly instead of rushing, whether you take time to eat a proper breakfast, whether you breathe instead of strain, these are not just routines. They're messages. They whisper to the next generation, this is how you live with care. This is how you age with dignity. This is how you protect what truly matters. For over a decade working with seniors and their families, I've seen this play out again and again. Families remember the little things. They remember the grandfather who always took a walk after dinner and told them motion is lotion. They remember the grandmother who reminded them never to skip meals because your body is your temple. They remember not just what their elders said, but what they did, consistently, even quietly. And that's the heart of this message. What you model becomes someone else's memory. We spend so much time in life chasing productivity, wealth, or reputation. But in the end, people won't remember how fast you answered emails or how many things you bought. They'll remember how you made them feel. They'll remember if you looked them in the eyes when they spoke, if you laughed often, if you moved slowly and lovingly through your life. That's why I believe your daily habits are not just about health. They're about legacy. When you choose to take care of your health, not reactively, but proactively, you're planting seeds. You're telling the people around you, it's okay to slow down. It's good to care for yourself. Being strong doesn't mean being fast. It means being wise. I once had a patient, a widowed father of 4, who told me, I don't want to be remembered for my job title. I want my grandkids to say, Grandpa taught me how to wake up right. That hit me deeply. Because waking up right isn't just about preventing dizziness or skipping a heart attack. It's about starting each day with awareness, gratitude, and calm. And when you do that consistently, it spills over into how you eat, how you move, how you treat others. It becomes a rhythm that others feel, even if you never say a word. I know some of you watching might feel like it's too late. Maybe you've ignored your body for years. Maybe you've had health scares or regrets. Let me be clear. It's never too late to change the story you're writing. In fact, small changes at this stage of life often create the biggest ripples. Not just in how you feel, but in what your children and grandchildren silently absorb from you. Because they're always watching, even when you think they aren't. They notice when you rest instead of rush, when you breathe through frustration instead of snapping, when you eat slowly, when you pray, or pause, or laugh without a reason. They may not say it out loud, but they're learning what growing old looks like, and whether it's something to fear or something to admire. You get to teach them that. And it doesn't have to be a lecture. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It can be as simple as inviting them on your morning walk, showing them how to stretch, asking them what they're grateful for, or sharing a small story about how you used to skip breakfast and what changed. It's in these tiny exchanges that we transfer the most important lessons, not by shouting, not by demanding, but by living. And here's another truth I've seen again and again. People don't remember perfect elders. They remember present ones. They remember the ones who sat with them, who taught them how to breathe through tough times, who made oatmeal in the morning and hummed while stirring the pot. So let me ask you, What kind of legacy are you building right now, in the quiet of your daily routine? If this video has reminded you of something or someone, take a moment to comment below. Backhand index pointing right. I want to pass down peace, not pressure. Your words matter. They might encourage someone who's been rushing through life to slow down today. And if you haven't yet, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. We're here to build not just a healthier generation of seniors, but a wiser one. One that knows healing begins not just in hospitals, but in how we start our mornings, how we breathe, how we connect. Now that we've explored the daily habits that protect our health and the deeper meaning behind them, there's one final thing I want to leave you with. A message that ties it all together. A truth I've witnessed through years of caregiving and sitting beside people in their final moments. The way we live each day becomes the way we're remembered. So live kindly, live mindfully, and above all, live like someone is watching, because they are. Now that we've reached the end of this video, I want to say something that comes straight from the heart. This is more than just the closing of a video, it's the opening of a new way of thinking. Because everything you've learned here today about your morning habits, your body's signals, and the simple but powerful changes you can make is only valuable if it leads to action. That's the moment it becomes real. And if you stayed with me all the way to this point, that tells me something important. You're ready. Maybe not to change everything all at once, but to start. To begin listening more closely to your body. To rise with intention. To treat yourself with the same care you've given to others for years. That's not selfish, it's essential. You see, your health is not just yours. It affects your children, your spouse, your friends. It determines how you show up in the world. And that means every step you take to preserve your well-being isn't just for you. It's a gift to everyone who loves you. I've worked with older adults for more than a decade, and one truth keeps showing up over and over again. People don't fall apart all at once. It's usually a slow unraveling of small neglects, skipping breakfast here, standing too quickly there, dismissing minor discomforts until they become emergencies. But here's the beautiful flip side. Recovery also begins with small steps. With breathing before you move. With eating before you act. With noticing the way your body feels in those first precious moments of the day. That's why this video didn't give you a complicated checklist or a long lecture. It gave you clarity. A few small doors you can walk through, each one leading to a healthier, safer, more mindful version of your morning. And I want you to know this. You are absolutely capable of walking through them. Yes, even if you've ignored your body for years. Even if you've had a scare. Even if your routines feel too hard to change. Change doesn't come from willpower alone. It comes from remembering why you want it. And I believe you want more than just to survive. You want to live, awake, steady, strong. You want mornings that don't begin in fear or fatigue, but in peace. You want to know that you're doing what you can to protect yourself, and maybe, just maybe, inspire someone else to do the same. So I invite you, right now, while it's fresh in your mind, to leave a comment below. Share one small thing you're going to change. It doesn't have to be big. It could be, I'll sit up slowly. Or, I'll eat before I move. Or even just, I needed this. Because that comment might be what helps someone else realize they're not alone in their struggles. And if you found this content helpful, if it opened your eyes or gave you hope, I encourage you to like this video and subscribe to the channel. That single action allows us to reach more people with the messages that matter most. Messages that save lives, protect independence, and restore dignity. We share weekly videos on senior health, nutrition, fall prevention, mental wellness, and more. All focused on empowering people in the second half of life to live it fully. So if that sounds like the kind of support you want, I'd love for you to join us. But more importantly, I want you to carry today's message with you into tomorrow. Because health isn't built in hospitals. It's built in the quiet, unseen choices you make every day. It's built in the food you eat, the way you breathe, how you speak to yourself in the mirror. It's built in moments like this, when you pause and decide to do things differently. I'll leave you with this thought. Your morning is not just the start of a new day. It's a chance to begin again, to rise slowly, to fuel wisely, to move mindfully, to honor your body not because it's perfect, but because it's yours. You've lived through decades of storms, seasons, and change. You've earned the right to care for yourself with tenderness. So tomorrow morning, when you wake up, I hope you hear this video echoing in your heart. Take it slow. You matter, because you do. Thank you for being here, for learning with me, and for choosing to live intentionally. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. But until then, take care of your health, your heart, and your mornings. And never forget, your best days can still be ahead of you, one gentle, purposeful morning at a time.